Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing the Nvidia GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super. Yeah, that's a mouthful. And that's what she said. So the 4070 Ti Super is based on the AD103 die, just like the RTX 4080, although this one is quite a bit cut down, so it doesn't really perform that close to the RTX 4080, unfortunately. It has 8,448 CUDA cores, which is a 10% increase over the normal 4070 Ti, and spoiler alert, it is only around 10% faster than the 4070 Ti. It's not a big increase like the 4070 Super was over the normal 4070. The main change on this GPU is definitely on the VRAM side. Where the previous $800 GPU from Nvidia only had 12 GB of VRAM, this new one gets bumped to 16 GB of that GDDR6X memory. This will definitely help it in ray tracing, with frame generation especially, and at 4K resolution as well. Most of the other specs were also improved. We now have a 256-bit memory bus, which sounds great compared to the 192-bit memory bus on the previous 4070 Ti for $800, like seriously. And the new one also has 66 RT cores coming from 60, 264 TMUs coming from 240, and 96 ROPs coming from 80 ROPs. But a couple of things are still the same between the 4070 Ti and the Ti Super over here. The clock speeds and the TGP of 285 watts. In my opinion, it should have had a little bit of a bump in the TGP department as well, because, well, the results weren't really all that impressive. Now, the 4070 Ti Super that I have here is the MSI Ventus version of the card, which unfortunately has a little bit of an issue with the review samples. They discovered an issue a couple of days ago that its performance is usually 5% slower than the average 4070 Ti Super, and that they're working on a fix for the V-BIOS. So when that's fixed, we'll see slightly higher performance on this specific model right here. Don't worry though, because at the end of each benchmark run, I will add a little plus 5% theoretical performance. Alright, finally, Nvidia targets this GPU at 1440p high refresh rate gaming, and that's what I'm gonna test here today. And if you're interested in the 4K video, the gameplay video, I'll still make that, but only when they release the final BIOS for this thing. Lastly, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 9 7950X3D CPU with half of its cores disabled, simulating a Ryzen 7 7800X3D, 32 GB of DDR5 6000 MHz RAM in dual channel CL30, and a 2TB SSD for all of the games tested today. So let's get into the games now, shall we? First, we have Cyberpunk 2077 at 1440p using the Ray Tracing Ultra preset. I'm gonna disable DLSS for now. Okay, I'm also gonna try it out in just a little bit, but I'm curious to see what it can do at native resolution first, and this is it. I also disabled motion blurs and so on, because I don't like the look of them. Anyways, we're getting around 40 frames per second here in one of the most intensive areas in the entire game. This is Dogtown in the DLC, the Phantom Liberty DLC, and I mean, it's barely playable here at native res, but we gotta remember that ray tracing is just super intensive. Now, take a look at that VRAM utilization. At native 1440p, it's quite high, so the 12 GB of the 4070 Super and the Ti as well might actually introduce a little bit of stuttering here. Thank God we got 16 gigs in this card. But let's enable some DLSS on quality as well as DLSS ray reconstruction and see how it does. This is still the RT Ultra preset, and look at that, 70s, that's really promising, guys, dipping down into the 60s at times, but not by much, only into the high 60s, and I mean, if the lowest FPS is 69, that's absolutely perfect, right? Can't ask for more than that. Input lag is just perfect, basically. It's 60 plus FPS, input lag all of the time. Yep, oh my god, double side flip. I'm a pro driver here in Cyberpunk, my friends. Cyberpunk. Let's go ahead and try some frame generation. That's the only thing left. Of course, I will have a video testing 1080p, 1440p, 4K, all of the settings, basically. Look at that. Oh my god. No, wait a second. It actually set it to auto. Yes. I want it on quality, please. Auto at 1440p is balanced. It looks way better on quality. Let's start counting our FPS, and look at that, guys. Now, we actually have a high refresh rate experience at 1440p with very clear visuals still. I think it looks very similar like this to what native resolution provides with that TAA, so it's definitely softer than quality DLSS alone, but it does a great job, guys. Now, finally, last thing to do here in Cyberpunk in the benchmark run is kill Bob. Goodbye, Bob! And let's move on to the next game. Alright guys, now we got the finals and we're playing this one. I'll show you the settings in just a little bit, okay? I'm playing at 1440p using DLAA, so it's native resolution, 90 FOV, dynamic epic ray tracing, as well as the epic settings. Stop it! Okay, we're good. Start counting our FPS. This is not the exact same map that we tested with the RTX 4070 Super, so we can't really directly compare, but in Cyberpunk, guys, I just double-checked the results from the 4070 Super that I got, and this isn't really that much faster, you know? It doesn't change the experience completely compared to that GPU. Yes, it does have the VRAM advantage, though, which is very nice, but it's also $200 more expensive. Not sure how I feel about it, honestly. Oh boy, hello? No, not from behind. Who is killing me from behind? What the heck? I saw a hit marker from behind or whatever. So I guess what we're seeing here is like, what? Around 5 to 10% faster performance than something like the 4070 Ti, as well as like 10-15% more performance than the 4070 Super. And again, for that price, $800, it's really expensive. But the map is not exactly the same. And of course, if you want that super ultra high refresh rate experience, look at that FPS dropping around here with the explosion, you will still need to drop down the settings or play with like DLSS, although DLSS in this game doesn't really look that great. Let's go. Nice. Good job, buddy. Let's go to the vault now. Oh, there's one there. Got him. Good stuff. Should we pick this up? Almost. Oh, what happened? Okay, there we go. Oh, there's a guy over there. Come on. Good. Come on. Nice, got him. Oh, it's so chaotic, this game. I love it. Let's go, good people. Let's go. We can do this. There's a turret thing over there. Let's go. Oh my god, what is happening? Did we get it? I don't think so. No, it were... Yeah, the pink guys got it. Damn it. So close, though. It was so weird. Oh, boy. No, stop it. Jesus, how many of them are there? Anyway, 125 FPS average is what we got here. It's a good frame rate. Definitely feels buttery smooth here. I was expecting a little bit better, though. Not gonna lie. Now it's Red Dead Redemption 2 at 1440p using the maximum settings this time. It's not the same settings as the 4070 Super because for $800, I don't want to compromise. So I manually set everything to the maximum aside from like the resolution scales and MSAA anti-aliasing because that's really intensive and not really needed in my opinion. And over here we're getting like 70-ish frames per second. That's still pretty good. Look at that VRAM utilization though. This game doesn't use a lot of VRAM as you can see. Also, in this game we're getting the same problem as I had with the 4070 Super, and that's GPU usage is at around like 95% sometimes. I don't know why. It's not a CPU bottleneck. This one is actually at 97% more often than not. So I don't think we're gonna see Jack, my friends. I don't hear him. Sometimes I can hear him from a far away distance and I know we're gonna find him, but it seems like we're only gonna see him in GTA 5. At least he doesn't fail us there. Come on, boy. We can do this, Roach. Please don't give up on me. Down into the 70s right now as we are approaching the Strawberry Town, one of the most intensive areas in the entire game. If you are seeing some water in this game, or if you are just close to a river, it drops FPS like crazy. Stop it, Roach. Stop it. Come on. And that's why this area is one of the most intensive ones in the entire game, because it's a little town which is intensive in itself, and then there's a river coming through it. Down into the 60s, look at that. Damn! That gets intensive. Alright, finally just taking a little bath over here. Still getting 70s. Roach, are you okay, boy? He's struggling a little bit. There you go. There you go. It's all good. Now he's liking it. He's liking it. Now it's Call of Duty Warzone, crossover with Modern Warfare 3, and I'll call it Warzone 3, if I don't remember to say the crossover thing. Anyways, 1440p resolution, 100% resolution scale, using the extreme settings, Fidelity FX cast to sharpen up the image a little bit. Everything else is set to the preset. And the 4070 Super, the non-TI version, actually got around 150 FPS, looking at the map from above here in the plane. This one is getting like 160 plus, more often in the 170s. So that's quite good. So it's a decent improvement, but it's once again not that game-changing improvement that we saw, for example, coming from a 4070 to the 4070 Super with 20% more CUDA cores, you know? No, 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 no. Seriously, now I gotta go to the freaking gulag. These camping bastards everywhere, mate. Interesting, the gulag gets around the same FPS as we were seeing before. Alright. Okay, concentration now. It's Groot. Groot is very good. It just went prone. What a noob. So as you can see, just swimming around, it drops into the 130s. Still a buttery smooth experience, of course. But shooting the water drops us into the 120 FPS mark, 119 to be more precise. So it's fair to say it's going to be a smooth experience all the way through. If you are interested, stay tuned in, because I will be back, of course, testing like competitive settings and so on, and more resolutions in settings. But for now, this is what we have here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Come on. Come on. No, I think I lost it. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, wait. I need this. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Let's move on. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is next, my friends. We're playing at 1440p using DLSS Ultra Quality, which I believe is actually native resolution. It's just like using DLAA in this game. Biased scaling mode, which biases the output towards a 4K resolution. And the Ultra settings preset, the only thing I changed is the motion blur. I turned it off. Everything else is as is. Now, in this game is where I found the experience coming from the 4070 Super and the TI version as well to be quite a bit improved here on the TI Super version. Because those other GPUs did drop from 60 FPS here very frequently, especially very close to that camp area. And this one, at least from what I've seen so far, it didn't really drop from 60 FPS, so it stays above 60 all of the time. Also, VRAM utilization is above 12 gigabytes. Okay, interesting to see that stuff, guys, because I honestly thought that 12 gigs was a little bit enough, a little bit more enough, but I don't know. But you know what I mean, right? And it turns out that a lot of these games will utilize more VRAM if you give them more VRAM. Anyways, around here is where the 4070 Super dropped from 60 FPS into like the mid 50s. This one stays above 60 FPS the entire time, as you can see. It might actually dip into the 50s in other areas that are more intensive, but this is one of the most intensive areas that I've come across so far. So yeah, it's good to see it above 60 FPS 100% of the time for sure. Next is Forza Horizon 5 at 1440p with 4x MSAA and the maximum settings here, okay? And we're getting extremely good FPS, look at that, 140s, 150s. It's gonna max out a 144Hz monitor, at least around these roads that aren't really as intensive. Obviously, when we get to the city, it's gonna drop a little bit. Now, on extreme settings or maximum settings, you actually end up dropping a lot of FPS in these areas with a lot of vegetation. You wouldn't think that the desert is intensive, but it actually is, okay? But only on ultra or extreme or higher than that, of course. I just noticed we lost our license plate, probably in the jump, right? Damn it. Did you notice what it said, by the way? Look at that, drops into the 130s, 120s, mid 120s, I guess. Low 120s there, 122. Finally, the tunnel area, and it dips down into the mid 100s, like mid 100 to 110. But, well, why don't I say 106? Like, That's it, guys. It's buttery smooth all the way. Now it's Spider-Man Remastered, and we're playing at 1440p using DLAA and the highest settings over here and the very high ray tracing. And here we have it, guys. 90s and 100s is what we're getting here, 120 sometimes. That's really good. This is native resolution using ray tracing at the same time. Look at that. All of the reflections are accurate to the scene. And down here, it's usually pretty intensive, and we're getting like 70s and 80s at the minimum, usually 90s. As you can see, the 4070 Super got around like low 70s, sometimes 80s around here as well. This is slightly better, although again, it's not really that big of a difference. We can also see a little bit of fluctuation sometimes in GPU usage. That's because this game is super CPU intensive whenever you enable that ray tracing as well. So you will also need a pretty beefy CPU to achieve these kinds of FPS that we're seeing right here, 110 on average basically, unless you use frame generation. So I turned it on over here, and now we're getting 130s, 140s, I guess. Yep, there we go. And now it's a bit higher refresh rate of an experience. If you have a 1440p 144 Hz monitor, or like a 165 Hz monitor, whatever, high refresh rate 1440p monitor, you will take a little bit more advantage of your monitor's refresh rate. Okay, and down here, instead of getting like those 80s, we're now up into the 110s and touching 120 at times. So we got like 25 FPS more than previously at the minimum down here. That's quite nice, guys. Next is Counter-Strike 2 at 1440p, and yes, 59 Hz because of the capture card. We're using very high settings right here with no anti-aliasing. Wait, can I knife him? Wait a second. Guys, there we go. Oh, yeah. Hey, good stuff. Oi, oi. There we go. Nice, another kill there. So we're getting 400 plus on average so far. Obviously, it will go down a little bit when I die. If I die too often, it's gonna go down by quite a lot. But the experience is quite a smooth one, as expected in Counter-Strike, really. It still drops like to the 200s, upper 200s at times when you're really close to character models. That's pretty intensive in this game for some reason now. But most of the time, I think we can expect those 350 to 400 FPS. Alright. Okay, and come on, nice. We're doing this. Triple kill right there. Hey, hello. Hopefully he doesn't have an op. Oh, okay, I got him. Nice. Oh, yes. That headshot was amazing. All right. No. Oh, hello. Damn it. Oh, I'm first place now. I just noticed. Good stuff. So we're doing this after all. Obviously, FPS aren't gonna be a disadvantage with the 4070 Ti Super in Counter-Strike. And I know we're not using competitive settings. That would be like low settings. I'll reserve that for another video. This is just so we can max out that GPU. And even then, it's not maxing out all of the time in a deathmatch. As you can see, it's fluctuating sometimes into like the lower 90s. Well, you know what? Even though we are CPU bound at times, even at very high settings, there's still a little bit of a difference compared to the 4070 Super. And I have unlocked the FPS, by the way. I forgot to show you that, but FPS max is set to 0. One more kill. I just want one more. Okay, I'm done. I'm done here. This is it. First place, 819 points, but most importantly, 69 kills. Let's try these smokes now. Okay, here we have it, guys. It's the beginning of a casual match with a lot of people. Right beside the smoke, we're getting 240. And throwing a grenade inside of the smoke is also really intensive, and it drops it down into the 190s for a split second. Not the end of the world. And inside of the molly here, it drops down to 175, but only for a split second as well. So yeah. Next up is the good old GTA 5 at 1440p using 4x MSAA and the highest settings aside from post effects, which introduces motion blur as well as bloom. Over on the advanced graphics settings, we're using everything maxed out as well, aside from frame scaling, which is just resolution scaling. Okay. Oh, this is a problem, guys. We have a bit of a problem. Yeah, we're reaching the engine limits and the game will stutter like crazy. Okay, I locked it to 165 FPS to avoid the stuttering issues caused by the engine braking. And now it should be, and it will be, a buttery smooth experience all of the time. As you can see, it still dips down from 165, so it can be GPU bound still, even with this lock in place. I think nobody expected GTA 5 not to run well. It's over a decade old at this point. Yeah. But I still like to introduce it here in these videos because it's still a very popular title, of course, and it's a DirectX 11 title, so we can see how these GPUs compare to older cards as well in the X11. Usually they're a bit worse in DirectX 11 than they are in DirectX 12 or Vulkan. And now the FPS should start dropping quite a bit, yep, into the lower 100s. Not dropping as far as the 4070 Super, of course, it shouldn't. Hello, Jacqueline, how's it going? So Jack is not here either. Interesting, guys. What is happening with that boy? Goodbye, Bob! There we go. So now that the evil is gone from GTA 5, let's move on to the next game. Now I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy at 1440p with DLSS set to quality, which looks better than native resolution in this game. It's really soft at native, and here we can actually adjust the sharpening. And over on the graphics options, we're using Ultra settings with ray tracing enabled on Ultra as well. And with these settings, guys, it becomes extremely CPU intensive. You can see that GPU utilization is fluctuating already. We're getting 75 FPS right here, and this is not a CPU intensive area. Hogsmeade, however, is a very, very CPU-intensive area, resulting in a stuttery mess of an experience over here in these areas, dropping from 60 FPS as well, and around like 60% GPU usage. So that's why I don't usually use ray tracing in these tests in Hogwarts Legacy. A lot of people ask me why I don't use it. But hey, we still got a trick up our sleeves. It's frame generation, and if you enable that, we can get 100 plus frames per second. Obviously, these aren't really real frames, and GPU usage is still not maxed out, but it's a much smoother experience now, okay? So this is definitely how I'd choose to play this game if I wanted all the bells and whistles enabled. If I'm paying this much for a GPU and playing at 1440p, I want high refresh rates with ray tracing and everything turned on. And over here you can see that we get just that. Well, almost. If the GPU was maxed out, we would see like 130 FPS on average or so. Even inside of this forest, we're seeing about the same FPS around the average results. And yeah, I don't think it's going to drop from 100 FPS with frame generation enabled. And if you're playing with RT, it's mandatory to have it enabled, basically. Let's play Stutter Night next at 1440p resolution using DirectX 12 and the epic settings with Nanite and Lumen enabled, which is basically ray tracing here. Hardware ray tracing is also turned on. Let's go. And we're dropping. Look at the beautiful graphics here at maximum settings. This game is really, really gorgeous, actually. But it's also extremely intensive, okay? Look at that, dropping into the 60s already. Oh my god. So what? It actually dips into the 50s. No way. The 4070 Super, which I have been... what? Those guys are just fighting each other with the pickaxe. But yeah, that card, $200 less expensive, actually was getting, what, like 5 to 10 less FPS than this. It dipped into the 50s way more often than this one. This is very comfortably above it, actually, at the moment. But I still expected more performance coming from the TI Super. Inside of bushes, it does dip into the mid and low 50s, though. So it's not a perfect experience, and I was really expecting it to not dip into the 50s. But again, this is native resolution with ray tracing enabled at 1440p, so super, super intensive. And enabling DLSS basically looks like native resolution, and it gives you way higher FPS. Look at that. It's right around 100 frames right now. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, we're good. Oh, just stop aiming at me, you freaking thing. Come on. Come on, I can get this. There we go, yes. Oh boy, we're low HP though, or not really, but we're out of shields. I'm gonna re-shield right now. Oh yeah, good stuff. We got the bush right here. It is not dipping into the 50s anymore. It's getting like 70 plus all of the time at the moment. Come on, let's go. Let's get that guy over there with a pistol. There's another one there. I think he's gonna kill him. Yep. Why didn't he get inside of the bush? Oh, there's another one there. Come on. Come on. All right. Should we fight him? I really need another weapon if I'm going to do this, my friends. And come on. Oh my gosh, they're getting us from behind. No. Still, that's probably enough. DLSS quality with these settings is very, very good. Now let's leave the stutters behind and get into the slow field. We're playing at 1440p using ultra settings and CAS upscale. Well, this is not upscaling, it's just sharpening the image really. And over here we're seeing around 70 frames per second. This is a very intensive area in this game. I remember the 4070 Super dropping from 60 FPS very often, especially right here. And this one is holding up pretty well compared to that one actually. Over in this area it's usually really intensive as well, and it's not dropping from 60 FPS, although it's getting down there, definitely. 61, 62. I don't think it's gonna drop, guys, unless you, like, make a lot of explosions around here. But those aren't really that intensive in this game either. Now, let's try it a little bit with DLSS on quality, frame generation off. Look at this. We get way higher FPS. Now, you're 100% sure that it's never gonna dip down into the 60s even. Yeah, 80s. Really nice experience. Let's just check out that area over there, which is a little bit more intensive. Come on. And it drops into the mid-70s. So I would actually probably enable DLSS, although you get a little weirdness, like over here on this bench, for example. You can notice some noise sometimes. Well, not anymore. It's weird. I don't know what they've done. When the game released and I was using the DLSS mod, it looked better, actually. So there's that. Also, there's still frame generation as well. I'm actually going to use it on top of DLAA, and we can get up into the 100s this time. So yeah, you can have a really smooth experience and with decent input lag at the same time, okay? Now we're playing Apex Legends at 1440p using the highest settings aside from this one, which introduces stuttering if you set it to ultra or maximum. Okay, here we go. Weapons, thank you very much. Healing as well, and let's go to that little area right there. Hopefully nobody dropped there because I don't want to die in like 3 seconds. Sometimes that happens, unfortunately. Down into the 170s at times down here. Don't know why, you know, nothing is happening. Oh boy, okay, so apparently people have dropped around here. You know what? Oh, hello. Ah! Okay, I got one. Oh boy. All right, I'm just gonna throw the smoke out and throw another one right there and go in this direction. Then they'll think that I went in that direction, I think. Hopefully they don't spot us. Let's see this area from above now. Look at that, 220s. Yeah, I mean, it might be the, like, grass or something that's intensive down here. I don't know why it dropped that far. All right, the guys are over there. There's one there. Oh, it's the guy that I was shooting at previously. All right, let me see if I can get him from behind. I know it's not really that fair, but hey, who cares? Let's go. There they are. Couple of squads over there, and I'm out of ammo. Okay, hopefully this one has some heavy ammo. Oh, yes, thank you very much. Okay, I got my ultimate now. Let's throw it out. See some huge explosions, which is super intensive, of course. It's like worst case scenario. And the explosions are coming. There we go, dropping into the 150s. I also threw a smoke over here at the same time. There's another one of these. Oh my. All right, some other Bangalore also threw her ultimate. Okay. Okay. Good shields in that one. Some worse shields in this one. Let's try to get him. Yeah, there we go. I hear dead people, my friends. I hear dead people. Look at him. He's dead. Almost. When I kill him. Yes. No. No, 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 no. Not from behind. Come on, buddy. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, my God. He's not dead after all. Oh, boy. But that was good. That was really good. Now it's the super demanding Alan Wake 2 at 1440p native first, using the high settings preset and ray tracing on high as well, as you can see here. So that means that path tracing is also enabled, and that's an FPS killer. Look at this. It's getting 30 frames per second. It's just about playable, my friends. Now, thankfully, this game supports DLSS as well as frame generation, so we can massively improve the FPS here. Let's use DLSS quality quality next, and instead of getting 30 FPS, we're now up into the 50s. Alright, getting closer to that 60 FPS mark. This is now playable. The graphics look absolutely fantastic in this game, by the way, with path tracing especially. It's really, really gorgeous. But yeah, it's still not 60 plus. Let's see it with that frame generation enabled. Okay, it's gonna be 80 plus most of the time at least, guys. Yep, if not all of the time. This is actually playable. I consider 80 FPS to be the minimum that you should aim for with frame generation in single-player titles, because if you go below 80 frames per second, it starts becoming pretty rough in terms of the input lag, but at 80 plus, it's manageable, definitely. It's not too bad right here, and this is a very slow-paced game as well, so it's not going to be a problem here with frame generation, and you can enjoy path tracing, max graphics here, absolutely fine. So yeah, pretty decent experience here, and this is a perfect example of how DLSS plus frame generation can change the experience completely. It's night and day in terms of playability. Now we got The Last of Us Part 1 at 1440p once again, using no DLSS and the ultra settings, which are the same as the auto settings for this one. Oh, look at that, guys, 120s right here. Looking in this direction, it doesn't even drop from 100, still right around 120. And looking back at here, which is one of the most intensive parts of this game, I've played the entire thing through while benchmarking, I know. And yeah, it's getting 80 plus consistently. That's extremely good for The Last of Us. This is a game that's really, really intensive, of course. Look at that, dropping into the high 70s right here. 69 1% lows, absolutely amazing. Now finally the most intensive part is here. 71, 72, doesn't even dip into the 60s. Yeah, that's what I like to see. Of course, it could be better for 800 bucks, but hey, you can max out this game easily. And lastly, before we go to the conclusion, and I'll have a couple of more benchmarks there, we got the Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3. I'm playing at 1440p using no DLSS, the Ultra Settings preset, and the LAA right here. We're getting above 100 FPS most of the time, sometimes it dips down into like the 90s. GPU usage is fluctuating though, so even with a 7800X 3D, you're gonna see a slight bottleneck here in the city part of this game, which is extremely CPU intensive as well as GPU intensive. But hey, around here it's actually dropping a little bit, as you can see, into like the lower 100s and high 90s at times. Still not a problem. In this game you don't even need these FPS, you know, like it works pretty well. Oh no, I don't want to get into a fight, I'm sorry. Well, this is a good demonstration, though. You don't need very high FPS because the combat system is turn-based, as you can see. So you can wait and think your plays through, and even at 30 FPS, that's possible. I would probably end up locking the FPS to like 90 or 100, save a bit of power as well, and yeah, just enjoy the game at 90 FPS locked. It's definitely smooth enough. Alright my friends, it's conclusion time, and I'll have Assassin's Creed Mirage and Rainbow Six Siege running right here on the screen while we talk about the 4070 Ti Super. So, at 1440p, this is not really a good deal in my opinion. I mean, some of the games could actually use more than 12 gigabytes of VRAM, but I think you should probably go with the 4070 Super instead. It's 200 bucks less expensive, and it performs like 15% slower or something like that. It definitely provides more value than this thing at 1440p. At 4K, that will be another story, okay? And for another day, because first I'll need the proper BIOS for this thing, the final one. Please, MSI. But yeah, at 4K resolution, I think this will be a little bit faster than it is at the 1440p res compared to the 4070 Ti or 4070 Super, the normal. I mean, there are so many 4070s now. What the? Also, it's a little bit disappointing to see that 10% higher performance over the 4070 Ti when we saw a 20% increase or close to it from the 4070 to the 4070 Super. Yeah, if you were expecting that big leap, you know, it's not here. on this GPU, unfortunately. It doesn't put it that close to the RTX 4080, as a lot of people expected. I saw a ton of comments saying, wait for the 4070 Ti Super, that's gonna provide almost 4080 performance, sorry. Yeah, that's not really the case, unfortunately, guys. So yeah, for 800 bucks, it's great that we got more VRAM and a little bit faster GPU now than 4070 Ti, but it's not game-changing, really. So yeah, with that all said, my friends, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you're disappointed or if this is just what you expected coming from a 4070 Ti Super. These names, man. Why not call it like Ultra? 4070 Ultra. Everything is Ultra these days. Why can't this be Ultra? I don't know, but what I know is this video is done. Thank you very much for watching it, and stay tuned in because whenever the final V-BIOS lands, I will be testing this at 4K, and of course, after that, the usual videos will come testing even more resolutions and more settings in each separate game. Love you all. Bye-bye.